Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Thursday's Lunch and Learn. We're almost over for the week. Today, we do not have any scheduled special guests because I really wanted to have a conversation with you guys and get feedback and you'll be getting a survey similar to what we're going to talk about today. But I always feel like different modes of like reaching people and talking to people is always a good idea to get a decent sample size. But we as coaches really want to make sure we're supporting you and want to make sure that we're not missing things. Your feet on the ground. You're the ones that know what you need. We can only sort of judge based on who's been contacting us and who's been asking for support. And that's what we've based most of our resources off of. So I guess I want to first find out from you folks, and anyone is welcome to unmute or write in the Google chat if you don't want to speak. If you speak, just make sure you introduce yourself and, what school you're at, so in case you don't know each other. But I want to know first what is working, like what's working well.
Hi, I'm Alina from Proctor High School, and I am really enjoying the Lunch and Learns.
Awesome.
I've attended a lot of them. The ones I haven't been able to attend, I've been watching the YouTube recordings afterwards. Actually, because right before this, I was just watching the tech one from Tuesday because I couldn't log on Tuesday. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Linda raised her hand. Go for it, Linda. I love it.
I know. I'm sorry I wasn't visual but I can be now.
Yeah.
I was eating my sandwich.
Oh, good for you. You got to take care of yourself first.
Yeah, because I'm
lunch and learn. Lunch is in the Bible.
I swear, I'm busier than ever. I don't know. Maybe it just takes me longer to do things, but I just needed to grab something before my afternoon student conference. But that's the thing the student conferences are the things that's working the best for me when I have that time with families. Finally, I think they're on board. And this week I will have met with every student. I only have 16 students. It's not like high school, but I teach kindergarten, but I will have met with every student by the end of the week. I have a half an hour.
And you do that every week?
Every week they have to sign up ahead of time. And I've been using this free app, I guess you call it, called Calendly.
Yeah.
And it's been so great because they can sign up. And if they don't sign up by Monday late morning for the week, I'll just send them a quick email to remind them to sign up, and then they all sign up. So that was nice.
And then how do you meet with them, on Google Meet?
Yeah, Google Meet, because then I can present my screen if I want to do some kind of activity. Like I was doing some Bridges math assessments, so I could bring up the actual worksheet and they would just see it and I would take notes. They weren't actually writing on it, but they could see it, and that would, they needed to see something. And this week we actually did a card for their mothers or their grandmother, whoever takes care of them. And so I shared the screen with them and we could upload pictures, and it was just a cute little thing.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Tomorrow, I just want to mention, I'm so nervous. I'm going to do something for Google, the Google Meets with the Google class, my class meeting.
Yes. Yeah.
So I gave them a challenge to read books, and they've been reading books with Epic.
Yes.
It's a very cute site for
Epic's
little
sweet.
kids. And they've logged on 700 and something books that they've read since March 20th. It's just amazing to me. So I told them if they reached the goal, it was 650 and I would do a dance. So I'm getting ready to do a dance on the Google. So I got to, put I
Is
have
that
to,
going to be on Facebook Live or no?
no, I'm going to put that on. I might record it
Okay.
because I might record it just in case someone didn't go because I don't want to have to do it again,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I
Yeah,
have the
record it.
angle, like I can see Elena, she's got like a nice long behind her. So I got to find the right spot. That's what I think the key is so they could actually see it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Well, thank you
Yep.
for listening. And
You're welcome. Thanks for
if you have
sharing.
any tip about doing a dance in front of your class, let me know.
I don't have tips on that. That is definitely not my area of expertise. But someone else might be able to help you. Sarah raises her hand.
So someone has been forced to do a dance in front of her class before. Just do it. It's fun. Is my advice. And then what's working well for me about Lunch and Learn specifically is that it's a really nice break in the middle of the day. And it's, I really like hearing what other people are doing, especially people I don't normally get to talk to. Like if it was the kind of thing where it was forced in any other situation, it would be terrible. But because it's all just people who are volunteering to get together and share what they're doing, it's actually been really nice. And I enjoy taking a break from talking to teenagers to talk to adults.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. I've enjoyed doing these Lunch and Learns and I really want to continue them. And I was talking to my team this week and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this when we go back to like building because everybody has a different lunch schedule. So how would I do Lunch and Learn? I don't know. It's a challenge I'm going to have to figure out. So yeah. Yeah. What else seems to be going well that you've adjusted to that you think is something that you want to continue that we should share with other people, or a tool that we should look into, or a tool that you want to mention? Yeah, go for it, Kelsey.
So I'm an OT and I cover a variety of different schools and Patty Thomas covers the others. But we have a shared drive with the OTs and the COTAs, and we're able to share different ideas through the Google Drive, which is really helpful because sometimes I just have run out of ideas and I can just jump into that and see what others have done.
That is
I also like getting to use the Google Classroom to see and communicate with parents who aren't willing to do the video calls because it's just one extra person and it's just too much for them. So it's just like a nice way to connect with me sending videos and they'll return pictures or descriptions. And it's just a nice thing I look forward to each week.
Awesome. That's good to know. Yeah, Shared Drive was a game changer. That was new this year, I believe.
Super helpful.
So helpful. So if you haven't discovered shared drives before in the past, what happened was you could share folders with each other, but the owner of the folder, if they ever left the the district and we deactivated their account, all of their stuff went with it, like in the folder. So now no one technically owns the stuff in a shared drive. It's there for all team members, which is really nice. Awesome. And let's see, somebody commented. Oh, Linda says, I agree with Lunch and Learn is so helpful, supportive, and inspirational. Well, thank you. Thank you for that feedback. That's awesome. Anything else you want to share that you think is noteworthy? Yeah, Cindy.
I like those Jamboards. That's been a huge thing because I teach first grade and it's been easy for the kids to manipulate the little sticky notes. And I've been able to create some little activities on there for them to do that to help differentiate for kids. And it's not like it takes for a bunch of time for me or for them. So that's been a huge, I was so excited about those. So, and I agree, the Lunch and Learn has served so many purpose. One, it's a social time. I live in a house with boys, so any interaction, I'm not talking about radios or stuff like that, has been great. And everyone has great ideas to share, and it helps me to think about, oh, I should try that, or I should look at it that way, because
Yeah.
I don't even have I don't even have someone else in my grade level at my own
Right.
school. I have them in the district, but it's, everybody's doing their own thing. So this has been a great way for me to, because technology is not my strong suit. And Erica, from talking with Jenny, like this pushed me way out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, but you're doing awesome.
Well, thank you, because I've had great support from you guys, and I
Oh.
appreciate that. And
Good.
I think that the one thing I've learned is, regardless, because we talked about this the other day, I had very strong feelings about little kids being on computers so much.
Yeah.
But in the future, thanks, Annie, in the future, I need to do some of these things earlier in the year, just so they're, we don't have, if this ever happened again, because we don't know.
We don't know.
My kids really had to learn fast how to even use a Google Classroom. So,
Yeah.
but
Right. It is that sort of balance of technology and, in the real world, in the normal world, if we ever go back to that, I love technology just to keep me organized. I'm way more organized in a digital environment than I am in my actual environment. So I always tell people, if they hand me a piece of paper, I'm like, don't give me a piece of paper. Can you email that to me so I can put it in my Google Drive, because that paper will be lost. So I feel like that's where the power is the digital world can help you be organized, can disseminate information in a much more efficient and effective manner. And you can do things in the digital world that you can't normally do in the regular world, right? It contacting authors to do a virtual book reading or things like that. But it doesn't mean everything has to be done, like all the work. You can disseminate the information and tell them to go do things off the computer, right? And it doesn't have to all be done on the digital world. And ideally, we're going to be seeing our kids more. Fingers crossed. So that blended learning environment, if we can get to that point, that would be awesome. A couple comments. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Annie just said, but Cindy, you have been doing incredible. And remember, you're amazing. You are. And Karen says, I agree, Cindy. I even just like to hear you all talking in the background while I'm still responding to emails. It makes me feel like we're in this together. So true. Honestly, we talk a lot about community with our students in our classroom, but I think my personal belief is like community starts with the adults in the building, and that is the foundation, and the adults in our district. And if we don't have that community together, it's really hard to foster that community in our classrooms. So yeah, that's what we wanted to do, is try to build spaces where we can come together like that. I don't know if everybody has found the staff lounge yet on Facebook, if you have Facebook, but people are using it as a way to communicate and share things and inspire each other. Okay, so how about like, what things do you want or need? What tools, support, resources, professional development do you still think you want or need? We're only what is this, our 8th week? Yeah, we're still pretty new into this, even though it feels like it's been forever. And we may be doing this for a while. So we want to know, how can we better further support you in this effort? Like, what are some of your roadblocks and what do you need? Oh, Cami, yes. Karen writes she would like a demo of Cami. So some of you may know what Cami is before. I know Jenny loves Cami, and she usually shares that with the people she works with. It is a PDF editor. So if you have a PDF of a worksheet, you can mark it up in Cami, which is kind of nice. You can't really like change anything in the PDF, but let's say you have a worksheet and you want to highlight things or circle things or kids to make X's in certain spots, you can do that in Cami. So I don't know Cami that well, but that is definitely something that Jenny should do a session on. Yeah, I don't always know how to make a template of something so that kids can write in it. Right, you can make a template where they have fillable boxes where they can type things in. Cindy writes, I am always looking for things for the primary grades that work well. As I said, I don't have a strong background in the tech world, but there has to be things out there that I can use. Yeah. And the best way to like find those things in my experience is, it's tech is not the priority. It's like, hey, I want to do X. So how do I do this? Let's go find the tool to help you do that. And that's usually my approach is like, what do you want to accomplish? And what are your roadblocks? And let's go figure out the tools that help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. So how to make PDFs into a Google Doc. Yeah, it's hard to make PDFs into a Google Doc. This is where Cami might come in a little bit better for you is you can manipulate.
I'm going to jump in too.
Yeah.
I actually saw an awesome demo because I've worked with the same kind of thing of how to take kind of a more traditional style worksheet and make it so that it's typable and fillable for kids. And I saw someone do a creative approach to this. They actually used Google Slides, changed the slide to an 8.5 by 11.
Yep.
And then on a slide, you can normally for me, it was annoying because I was just thinking of it as an image, but you can change the slide background to the PDF. So there's like a couple steps to it, but whatever your PDF is, you can take a snap screenshot of that PDF and set that as the slide background. And then in the background, so then the kids can't interact with it and accidentally drag it to the wrong place. Then you put a text box over wherever they're supposed to type their answer. And then this teacher, on their little demo video, they showed that when they put in the text box, they put the text in blue and they said, type your answer here. That way it was really clear for the kids, oh, here's the worksheet. Oh, and there's where I go type. And then their text showed up blue, so it was different from the black and white background. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a clever way to do that.
Yeah, Google Slides is pretty amazing with what you can do. I'm always amazed at what you can do in a Google Slides besides doing a presentation.
Yeah. And Cindy, I just saw you said the stuff about printers. Yeah, because I have a lot of my kids don't have printers. So right now what I've been doing is taking things and converting them into a Google quiz so that kids can just answer it on the Chromebook, but that it takes a long time to do that because I have to type it all in, create all the questions, create the choices. And even if it's for your response, there's just all those extra steps.
Yep. If you're using Seesaw also, this is another thing. If you're using Seesaw or thinking about maybe using Seesaw next year, you can also upload PDFs in Seesaw and edit them, not edit them, but have kids fill in or drag and drop things on that as well, or circle or highlight or write. So that's another way that makes it really simple as well. Karen writes, if you did that, when you shared the slideshow, would it send them each their own individual copy? Yes. So if you share it through Google Classroom, Karen, and make sure when you hit that attachment, make sure you select make a copy for each student as the option. There's a drop-down box when you add an attachment. And if you select make a copy for each student, it will literally make a copy for each student and it will put their name in the title. So it makes it really easy to find. Linda writes, I was amazed that those students who opened the document on an iPad could write on the document. Yeah. Yeah, they can. Yep. Yeah, so mobile apps sometimes work a little bit different than the computer app. I do know, like in you can often open a document, and I know through Google Classroom I've done this, is there's a document and I was playing around with it and I opened it up on my cell phone and I could like circle spots on the document of like, oh no, redo this here and write it. And then it saves like a PDF copy of what my comments that they can look at, and then they can go back to their original document and make changes. Would you be able to do a lunch and learn on this? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, maybe the Google slideshow. Maybe Alina, would you be able to do a lunch and learn on that?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. Because I've been playing with a lot of stuff that the Google tools and Google Classroom can do, because it's my comfort zone. And
Yeah.
since I teach high school science, I have a lot of things that I'm trying to figure out how to do in the digital world that I used to do with paper.
Awesome. All right, I'll get in contact with you to figure out a date then.
Yeah, perfect.
Go from there.
Thank you. It's just easier for my brain. I'm that kind of a student where I have to see it and try it, and just hearing it doesn't
Yep.
always work for me. Thank you.
Yep, same with me. I need to see it done. That's why anytime I want to learn how to do something, I immediately try to find a YouTube video on it, and figure out how to do it. That is my go-to. Okay, what else? What else would you like more support? What are some of your roadblocks? Things like that. Everything's going perfect.
Well, definitely not perfect. But I've been kind of figuring out like new systems for myself regularly to kind of update things, but also attempt to have a work-life balance with all the craziness going on. So I've been using a lot of my own tools and techniques for that. But as we're thinking ahead to next year, I know there's been some hope and conversation that we can have some PD in June to talk about strategies, and because we don't know yet what next year is going to look like, but if we have some ideas of like, hey, here's some of the potentials of what it could look like next year, to
Yep.
talk about strategies we can use to be most effective with the time that we have in person versus digitally with our students, if we end up with some sort of blend next year. And just kind of I don't know, like for me, I like to brainstorm out loud with other people. So having some space and time for that, like once we start getting answers about next year, or at least some different projections, having set aside space and time to talk about those ideas is something I'm gonna definitely need. I know I'll be talking with my science folks at my school, but branching out and getting ideas from other people in other places as well is immensely helpful.
Absolutely.
Well, we
I
can also just loop other people into those conversations, and then
Yep.
we'll have more brains and more ability to come up with something effective.
Yeah. Collective brain power is awesome.
It is awesome. It is so much more powerful, and like getting so different perspectives and people looking at the thing and different angles. Yes. So we are already kind of trying. It's so hard to plan for things that you don't know what's going to happen. Like, I mean, and we don't know when we're done with school yet. We're supposed to hopefully hear from the AOE some guidance this week, is what we've been told. By tomorrow, Dan French is supposed to give guidance, but who knows if he's actually going to come out with it tomorrow. As far as when we're closing. So if we can figure out our closure date, and then it may be that students, like, they've forgiven something like 18 days. However, our schools, we went straight into continuing learning, right? where a lot of schools did not. They kind of used those first 2.5 weeks to kind of figure it out. And so they've forgiven them those 2.5 weeks. And we're like, well, does that mean we could be forgiven on the other end? Like, and so I know that there's some petitioning and talking about trying to see if the state will forgive us on the other end so that students can get out of school at a reasonable date. You know, and then we would have maybe 5 days for preparing for next year, time in your classroom, maybe things like that. So that's what we're hoping for. And again, you're right. It's really hard to plan for next year. We do know, I mean, I think the thing that we can be sure is we're going to have periods of remote learning, right? Whether everything's going to be shut down again for a period of time or not, we don't know. Whether it's going to be hybrid and you're going to have days on, days off, we don't know. But we do know that we have to design learning so it can easily, fluidly move between brick and mortar and remote. And that's the way we gotta, I think, approach it. I think Karen wrote something here. Speaking of next year, I'm wondering how much money you would estimate me saving towards the purchase of all the free technology we've had access to. Okay, so Jamboard is free forever. It's a Google product. It's part of our suite. So she has Jamboard. Padlet has a free version. It is limiting, though. It only has like 3 boards you can make before they make you want to buy things. But I just found this thing called it's this virtual bulletin board. To me, it reminds me of Padlet, but it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's so much cooler. And it's free. So if you wanted to take that out, I put it in the chat. Edpuzzle is also free. I think you can do an upgraded version, and I don't really. Yeah, so it's free up until like so many lessons. I think like I could be wrong, 10. I don't know. So there's a free version and there's a paid version. So if there are tools that you know have a paid subscription that are free right now, this will be in the survey. We want to know what all those tools are and how many people are using them, because that is something we know, at least on my and our team, we're trying to push. Like, we're going to have to fork out some money for some of this technology that's really helping facilitate remote learning and making it possible. So like Edpuzzle, Screencastify, we already have WeVideo, and we're going to keep WeVideo. We've had it for years now. You know, that those kinds of things that have been really, really helpful, that, you know, by the end of this school year, they probably won't be free anymore. Yeah. Yeah. So make sure you keep mental notes. Yeah. Newzela. I don't ever know how to say that. Newzela. So keep mental notes about the things you're using. That is not a Google product that we might want to pay for, and we can look into district licensing. It is 12:30 already. Holy cannolis. Okay, so anything else? Any last comments or suggestions?
Just thanks again for doing this. And then if we end up in some sort of hybrid next year, who knows, maybe it'll work out to still keep doing lunch and learns if our schedules aren't what they normally are.
That's true. You're right. We may have time for it.
Even if we end up with like lunch and learn A and B.
It's true. I may have to do double session, but yeah, it would be nice if we had a unified schedule so I could do lunch and learn all the time. But that's not possible.
We may not be able to eat in our teacher's room, so we may have the ability to do lunch and learns, and it would be a good social outlet for us too, because sometimes we go to lunch and we just need to find out what's working and what's not from other people.
Right. You're right. It is a good thing. That's how I learn most of the things I do. I learn from other people. I don't know everything. I fully admit it. And I go to other people and try to figure it out. And, you know, why reinvent the wheel when it's already been done by someone else? So, okay, everyone. Keep an eye out. I think Lisa's going to send you guys a survey. Maybe this week, maybe next week. So kind of similar questions, and it's anonymous, so feel free to speak your mind as well. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon. Enjoy the sunshine. Bye.